Hey, welcome back to Hockey Talks. I'm Carl. That is Dave. The Stanley Cup winner is once again the Florida Panthers, a two-time Stanley Cup winner 2 years in a row. And Matthew Tkachuk thinks they're a dynasty. Do you think they're a dynasty, Dave?
I mean, maybe. I mean, nobody would
Yeah.
seeing them go all the way here in this year. They thought Edmonton Oilers would take them down. They thought Toronto would. They thought Carolina would, but they seem to make it all the way through, even through Tampa Bay. A lot of people were favoring Tampa. So at this point, who knows? I do know a couple of the players are probably going to be off of Florida, and it just so happens that those players were key contributors to them being able to take down the Edmonton Oilers.
Yeah.
So whether they'll be able to fill those shoes or not, that's going to be the real question. Because if it
hmm
was just Matthew Tkachuk being the star of the team, or with Verhage and Reinhardt, I just don't see them having quite the same build.
hmm
Yeah,
Yeah, for next year. Yeah. See,
yeah.
I think you need to win three. You need to win three cups.
Oh, he says he's a dynasty now.
Yeah, he said it. Yeah,
Oh, no
he
way.
said in the
No,
interview that
you
he's a
need
dynasty
three.
now. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. So I think you need three at least to be a
yeah.
dynasty within the 5 years.
Would you call Tampa Bay a dynasty?
They did win three, right? No, two.
I think two. Yeah,
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 then
in a row,
no.
two in a row. I think.
Yeah, same
Yeah, I
with
wouldn't
Florida.
call them either.
No,
Yeah, that's what it would
they
take.
were
I
a
think is
very,
three.
very good team at that time. Not a dynasty.
Not a dynasty.
No.
Pittsburgh, I think, is the only dynasty. I don't even know if they've done three, but that would probably be the
Mhm.
closest call I would say
The
in the past
Oilers were
4 years.
back in the day, right?
Yeah,
Montreal was back in the day. Boston. Wait, oh no, you know what? I don't know about Boston. I think Boston only won once in the 70s.
yeah.
Or did they even win once in the 70s? Actually, I'm not too sure about that anymore. But anyways, yeah, they're not a dynasty. Matthew Tkachuk thinks they are.
Yeah.
They're a solid team, a really solid team. The only one that actually even gave them a little bit of trouble was Toronto back in the
I have an
second
opinion on that,
round.
but
And you think Toronto probably would have beat them if it
well,
wasn't for the
I'm
good
not
team
going to
by
say
Sam
that, but
Bennett.
what I will say is that it's Toronto is the only team that managed to go 7 games with them after a
Exactly.
goaltender
So,
being injured.
so does
So
that make Toronto the second best team in the playoffs?
I wouldn't necessarily. This is as a Leafs fans, I wouldn't necessarily say that. I would like to say that, but at the same time, I don't. There's no knowing how they would have stacked up against Carolina. There's no
hmm
knowing how they would have stacked up against Edmonton.
But they're
But at the
the only
same
team that
time,
took
they
Florida to
had
game seven.
yeah, exactly with a goaltender injury,
And
right?
they were up in that game. And they should have won that game,
Yeah.
I
But
think.
at the end of the day, though, Carl, there's always an excuse. There's
hmm
always an excuse
It's
as to why
always,
you
yeah.
can't beat them. Oh, that team went
hmm
on to win the Stanley Cup. You can only use that excuse so many times.
hmm Yeah.
So that's why I think some changes are required because next year it's going to be an excuse as well.
hmm
And the problem with the playoffs is there's always an excuse for every single team out there, right? Like
Yeah.
LA, LA went out early. Well, what's their excuse? Oh, well, we went out to the team that almost won the Stanley Cup. Well, that's kind of what everybody goes out in, right?
Yeah.
Like Colorado getting beat by Dallas is like, oh well, they had one lucky third period and then they got beat. It's like everybody has those one-offs,
hmm
and Toronto's this year was that they went on to win the Stanley Cup, and
Yep.
that's all there is to it. But
Yeah. Well, that was the same with last
you
year,
need to
too.
build deeper because every year it's not an easy path to the Stanley Cup.
Yeah.
Every team has to go through a lot to get
Yeah.
there.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. One of the hardest trophies to
And
win in all sports.
Florida made it look easy,
Florida
so
made it look easy.
kudos to
Yeah.
them,
Like, yeah,
except for
they're
Toronto.
such a solid
Ah,
team. Yeah.
yeah, it
That was
is.
unfortunate. They were, yeah, Paul Maurice said it before that. He said he thinks they're a better team than they were last year. And I would have to agree with him. I think they were a better team than they were last year, adding Brad Marchand, especially, right? Look how many goals he put in this final here. Like he was all over the ice all the time. Like in my mind, he should have been the Conn Smythe winner. Yeah, I guess he was second runner up, but Sam Bennett ended up winning it. But I think Brad Marchand put up a really good case for it. Same with Sam Reinhart too. He scored
Ah,
four
no,
goals. No, no, not
yeah,
Sam
but come
Reinhart.
on, come on,
Okay, well he
empty
did have
nets.
pretty good. Okay, two empty netters.
Yeah,
But he had a really good finals as well. Sam Reinhart. He had a really good
the
final.
the MVP goals are the ones where they score in their close games, not like 5-2. You know
Yeah,
what I mean?
yeah. Such as Brad Marchand.
And I exactly, I still think that well, Marchand and the other character there, who won it again?
Oh, Sam Bennett.
Bennett. Yeah, for some
Your
reason I wanted to
favorite
call him
guy.
Bennett. What's that?
Your favorite guy.
My favorite guy. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. But no, we can before we dive too much into Marchand and him, we should probably like and Bennett. We should probably talk a little bit about what went wrong with the Edmonton Oilers.
Let's
So,
do
what do
that.
you
Yeah.
think? What do you think went wrong with them? Why do you think they lost? It looked really good. They came out in game one and they won it, and then
Mm-hmm.
it,
Look
followed up with
promising.
two losses
Yeah.
and then a win and then just downhill.
Yeah.
What happened?
Well, I think Florida figured out how to handle them, right? Once Florida figured that out, how to push all the right buttons and get them mad, right? That was the issue. They got under Edmonton's skin, right? They know how to irritate them, bug them, and then get them playing Florida's game right where they
Hmm.
wanted them. And then they could do whatever they wanted the entire series. But that game three, that is where it all started, I think. They scored goals. I mean, Skinner hasn't been great. Skinner hasn't been great all series, right? If he had a good goaltending, and I'm not going to put it all on Skinner or Pickard for that matter, but it had to do with a lot with the team in front of him. That I don't know, they were too many turnovers. Bouchard, like every time he touched the puck, he tried to go up and he turned it over. Like that can't happen. I don't know why they put him up with the puck all the time, but it's just anyway. That is what was the ultimate demise for the Oilers. Is they let the Panthers push them around, and even though they tried to be way more physical in game one, the Panthers still found a way to get it past Skinner within the first period or first few minutes of the game. And then that sets the whole tone again. So
Yeah.
Oilers needed to be better. They were not good. They let the Panthers walk all over them. And yeah, the Panthers are very good at doing that with Brad Marchand and Bennett and guys that like to bug and poke. And then you got stupid penalties from Evander Kane.
Hmm.
Like, why? Why do you do that stuff? Like, you know, it's hurting your team. You're going to the box all the time, and you get a 10 minutes misconduct in game six, which that should have never happened. He should have never done that. Like the slash that he did on Kachuk there,
Hmm.
the two-hander to Kachuk, he got sent to the locker room. Stuff like that. Just
Yeah.
you hurting your team. And
Yeah.
I also think that's why Evander Kane's not going to be back with the Oilers next year. Okay,
Oh,
but
there's a couple
what do you
people I
think?
think they should get rid of.
Yeah, oh, 100%. Yeah, we'll
Well,
get into that. What do
yeah,
you
I
think?
think a couple things, but we'll start off. So I think something to do with the team that they were playing against, but I also do think that yeah, a lot of it has to do with the goaltending with Skinner that everybody still is like praising, saying, "Oh,
Mhm.
it's the team's fault." I hear that a lot, and at the end of the day, the goalie was the reason in my humble opinion, the goalie was the reason why they started going downhill. Skinner started playing more and more outside his net. Not even if he just plays in the proper position, it doesn't matter if Bouchard loses the puck. Just play in your position, you'll save it. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So then you'll make that save, and then Bouchard next time won't lose the cup, or sorry, won't lose the puck. But what we see is we see Skinner going on a tear, having some great games back to back. And as we were
Mhm.
saying a couple weeks ago, he's a statistical goalie. He's not going to be able to do this like Bob. Bob is
No.
a solid goaltender.
Yeah.
Skinner is not, and I don't like it that everybody's all freaking out about Skinner's actually still a really good goalie. It's like, are you kidding me? Look at his
Mhm.
positioning. This
Mhm.
guy chokes. And
Mhm.
so, anyways, that's what he ended up doing. And so they pull him and they put in Pickard. And then going into the following game, they start listing off Pickard's stats in playoffs, being 7-0. And people start saying they when they played Pickard, he did a lot better of a job than Skinner. And he should be able to near shut him out in the following game or do really, really good in the following game. So they play him. Well, first of all, that's a mistake because now Edmonton's forwards and their defensemen, their lines there, it's a decrease in morale for them because they don't have their usual guy out there. So now the blame is passed on to the goalie. So now the players don't think that they're doing anything wrong. And that's a no good thing. You should have
Yeah.
started Skinner if
Mhm.
they got two goals scored against him, pull him, put in Pickard. But now you're putting in Pickard and you're using this weird abstract 7-0 record in the
Mhm.
playoffs to
Which really
justify
means nothing.
It
in the
does not mean
final.
if anything, it's like saying, oh, it's been like on a roulette table, it's been red 7 times in a row.
Oh yeah, so it's
Well,
going to be red
they're gonna
again. Yeah,
it's gonna be red or black, right? Like it's gonna be one or the other. It doesn't matter.
yeah,
So they play them, and then they give them a day or two. I think it was 2 day break to study where to shoot on this guy. They go out and they just score on him
yeah. I
over and
mean,
over and over and over again.
yeah,
And so
it's
then the worst thing happens is the following game, they play Skinner again.
yeah.
And
See
that's
the
why in the previous game you shouldn't have sat Skinner because
mhm,
now it's going to mess up if you have to use him again because now
yeah,
he's in his own head. So he comes in, he's in his own head and he screws everything up. First
hmm,
shot was in.
yeah,
Like there's just nothing but problems there. There's bad calls being made
hmm,
and as for the players, yes, they could have done more. The goaltender should have done more. That was the
hmm,
key, in my
absolutely.
opinion. But
Yeah.
the players, you can blame the players all you want. But all I'm going to say is Florida went through Tampa Bay. Their top line was near held pointless.
Hmm.
Matthews, Nylander, and Marner. Nylander was a little better, I think, but Marner and Matthews in the top line near shutout. Like they didn't get nothing, right?
Yeah.
And that leads to why another reason why Toronto lost is because their defense stopped scoring. Right,
Yeah.
the reason they beat Ottawa, the reason why they won those first couple games against Florida is because their defense. Right, and
Hmm.
so then Florida goes on to Carolina. Well, Carolina they can't do nothing.
No.
And then they go on to Edmonton, and it's like this big surprise. How come nobody can score on Florida? Like, are you kidding me? Look
Hmm.
at this, guys.
Yeah.
They're shutting out all of the first lines.
Yeah.
Like McDavid, I don't think he had a crazy amount of points because
No.
they
No.
didn't let him get any points. So now it's like, who the heck is going to score the goals?
Yeah.
Right? That's the question. If your top guys can't score goals, who's going to
Mhm.
score the
Yeah,
goals?
you need secondary, right? You need a
Yeah.
depth. You need depth in your lineup, right?
And
You know,
that's where guys like Bouchard, sorry to cut you off, but that's where guys
no.
like the defensemen, they make a miss because they're trying to do other types of plays because what they're
No.
doing is obviously not working. So that's when
Hmm.
the defensemen start maybe doing things like going up to shoot the puck to try something different,
Well,
and then it gets a turnaround and they go back and they get a shot on a weak goalie and they score and everything just
yeah.
goes downhill.
Yeah. Well, Bouchard is not known as an offensive defense, right? He likes to go up
Yeah,
there and shoot the puck all the time.
yeah,
But he's the way he was handling everything, he's making stupid passes, like not looking before he moves up the ice, right? And they were in front of him every single time. And that's what led to that one that what was in game six? That goal, a turnover by Bouchard, right? And
yeah,
dangles around Ekblad or not Ekblad, Ekholm. And yeah, top corner.
yeah,
But it's little plays like that, right? That you need to be hockey smart and not just go up and try to dangle around people yourself,
yeah,
especially if you're not that kind of a guy to do that, right? You need to play within your game and quit trying to go outside of what you're trying to do originally to make something work. Sometimes
yeah,
you get too carried away and you try to be the hero and you screw it all up, and that's where a lot of things went wrong, I think, right?
yeah. It's
They
like
were desperate. They wanted to get something done, and they tried to be the hero to get out there, and that's where all these turnovers come into play, I think.
but you know what? Biggest change, I would say the biggest change that would lead to a possible Edmonton success in all this would be starting Skinner game 5.
Yeah, I agree.
That should have happened.
I
And
agree.
then don't put him in there for 5 goals.
No.
If he gets
He,
two scored on him or 1 goal in under
yeah,
5 shots, pull him. Pull him immediately. At
yeah,
least you start out with him. The teammates are there, like everything's the same, right? You're not messing with the mojo. I even heard that in Edmonton they were sending out water or ice or something like that to Florida to put in
yeah,
their
yeah.
rink or something weird. Like, come on, these guys are very sensitive to that kind of stuff. And you go and you rug pull them by pulling the goalie for some guy who just doesn't even deserve like
Yeah,
from a bench warmer. I don't mean to be mean to Pickard or nothing like that, but you can't
no,
just start playing him against Florida Panthers, man.
yeah.
Like
They'll pick
this is
them
a team who
apart.
literally ate through the Hurricanes, ate through them. The
Hmm.
first game after going 7 games with Toronto Maple Leafs, they
Yeah.
got 5 or 6 goals
Hmm.
against Carolina.
Yeah. They just
like,
destroy it.
like in what two like a day or two rest.
Yeah, yeah.
You
They
know,
just keep going, man. Like
you can't
they don't
just
need to slow down at
mix
all.
things up like that with your players.
Yeah.
Just that bugged me.
Oh, yeah. I agree with
But
the
for
whole
people
Pickard. And
Yeah.
Skinner thing, absolutely. They should have stuck with Skinner. I don't know why they decided to make that move, even though they said that whole time, how we have full trust in Stu. We have full trust in Stu. He's been our goalie all the time.
And then
And
you
then they
doubt
go
him.
put and then you don't, you put in Pickard. Like, what are you guys doing? That just
And then they
shatters
put
all the
Skinner
confidence
back
he
in the
had.
following
And then
game.
yeah,
Like,
like what are you
oh
doing? You
my,
can't go
what are
back
you?
and forth like this all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah, I get it. Like you sat him before and then he played amazing, but that was after a 3 game stretch. Then
Yeah.
you put him back in, made him time to think, right? You get 1 game in between you bouncing back and forth. Well, neither goalie's prepared now.
Yeah.
So, anyways, I didn't mean to cut you off there, but
That's okay. No, I was just about to say one other thing. It's the X factor of this series. The thing that I don't think anybody could have predicted, and it, well, I guess we did. Well,
yeah.
I did. I don't know if you said a Edmonton Cup, but
Um,
what this thing is it's called the Perry curse.
mhm,
And it's the thing where Perry uses up too much resources for the team. He makes his worth on the ice by scoring goals. Don't get me wrong, he contributes. But if you were to take that extra money and put it around on a well balanced team, spread the love to other people, or maybe get somebody else in,
mhm,
you'll get more out of it than what
yeah,
Perry is. That's the only explanation I could think of. He
yeah.
is a sink for money where you pay for him. He gets goals, he gets assists, he speaks up when he needs to
Mhm,
speak up, but then he
mhm,
still loses.
yeah.
So something's weird there.
How many cup finals has it been now where he's,
Or I think
I think this was the fifth.
maybe, yeah, I don't know. He's
Uh,
won the cup once.
he has
So
back
yeah,
in
that you got to say that
2006.
right away.
Yeah, or
It's funny
2007.
though. It's funny though because I was talking to some fans, and I think it was in game 4 where they were losing and they came back. Is that the right
Mhm.
game?
Yes. No,
Yeah,
game five.
game
Yeah, it
five.
was.
Where they, oh yeah, yeah, it
No, no,
was.
you're right. It
I
was
thought they
game
were
four. It
still.
was game
Yeah,
four. You were right.
yeah.
Yeah, because
So
they lost 2 in a row again, right?
what I had heard is, I guess in the intermission, the second intermission, Perry goes and speaks up, and people were interviewing them later and saying like, yeah, Corey ended up to giving us a speech, and he's usually pretty quiet. He doesn't give us a talk, and I guess he kind of said stuff like, guys, look where we are, we're here, and then they came back out afterwards. They played their little butts off, and they won. Where was that speech in Game Six?
Yeah, where was that? Where was the McDavid swearing up and down the
Corey,
locker room
you pulled
before?
it out too early, man. You
Yeah,
don't use that in Game 4.
game four. Well, I
Use your
guess that could
speech
have
in game
been.
six or
Yeah,
five.
yeah.
Anyways, yeah. So, what do you
Uh,
think was going on with that Perry thing? Why do you think he just doesn't have the what it takes? Is it something to do
I
with
don't
maybe he's
know.
just too expensive? If people were to use that resource for some other talented people,
Maybe
I don't know.
it's just weird that seems to be everywhere he goes, they lose. Montreal, Tampa Bay,
Twice in a row.
twice in a row, Tampa.
Twice in a row in
Yeah.
Edmonton. So
Twice in a row in Edmonton. Yeah.
this is something I'm going to pay attention to because he's near retirement.
Three,
It's funny
four.
because Marchand,
Yeah.
Marchand goes to a different team and they win.
Yeah.
Perry
Yeah.
goes to a different team and they lose. It's like,
Hmm.
what?
Hmm.
That's so crazy.
Yeah. That's weird, eh? It's just,
So Edmonton has to trade him, and then next year they will win.
yeah.
Wouldn't that
Well,
be something,
maybe
eh?
that is something, right?
Oh
Like,
man,
look, it's looking more and more like the Corey Perry curse. Like, when did Corey Perry leave Tampa? Did they win after? They did.
I think so.
Oh no, they won
It was either
before.
after or
It was before that.
before.
And then they lost. And they haven't been back yet. But it's crazy. Yeah.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
covered it all in a
Oh,
3 minute
Dallas
video.
too.
Yeah,
Dallas too. Corey Perry was with
yeah,
Dallas and they
that's right.
lost. Yeah.
Yeah, I just
To
don't want him in
Tampa Bay.
Toronto. Wouldn't that be funny if he went to the Leafs? Oh,
Yeah. Oh man. Yeah. Yeah, that
I
would
cannot, Frank, personally, I cannot stand Corey Perry. I think he's
yeah.
a slippery
Yeah.
little conniving little elf. I can't stand him. So
Yeah.
that is the sole reason why I was not cheering for the Edmonton Oilers.
Yeah,
That was
that's a good
it.
reason.
It just
Hey.
brought joy in my heart to see them lose. Unfortunately,
Yeah, yeah.
unfortunately.
Yeah, no, mine's Brad Marchand still, which he ended up winning the cup. He actually played really well, but that all stems to the 2011 Vancouver Collision.
Well, you
But
know what, Carl? Go ahead. Go ahead.
uh, I I think Marchand. won't win another cup. Well, I shouldn't say that because I don't think
Never
he's
say
going to.
never.
He got traded to Florida of all places, and then yeah,
That
he ended
brings.
up on a good team, right? And I think Florida was a very fitting team for him, but he
Let's just be honest. They wouldn't have beat the Oilers without Marchand and Bennett.
I don't think so. No, no. Like Matthew Tkachuk, he was invisible,
Yeah,
right?
until the last
He
game.
was
Yeah.
always he was hurt apparently. He tore some muscles off some bones or something like
Well,
that.
from Four Nations, he's been hurt. Yeah.
Yeah, since Four Nations, yeah. So, but yeah, I don't think they would have been. Well, I shouldn't say that. If Edmonton played the way they did, Florida might have still beat them.
And you know what? Okay, I'm just gonna say it. I'm excited. I want to talk about this.
Okay, go for it.
We're talking about Marchand. I think sooner or later, I'm gonna be cheering for him.
Why? You think he's on Toronto?
I've heard a lot of rumors. A lot of people are saying that there needs to be change in Toronto. We need people to push us to the next level. The player that made us lose that round. Well,
How
we can't
many?
put it all on that, but just the
Yeah.
player that made us get our goaltender injured, Bennett
Hmm.
and Marchand are slippery little dogs.
Hmm.
And there's rumors of them going to Toronto and getting rid of Marner.
Both of them going to Toronto.
Both, because
Wow.
yeah, Marner. Well, yeah,
Wouldn't
Marner is
that be
an expensive
something?
player, right?
Oh yeah, 13 mil.
Yeah, and so I'm pretty sure you'd be able to do something like they're going to be expensive, but at the same time, I mean, if it gives us a run, then
Absolutely.
if
You
you can
know,
make the
those would be
dollars
key
match up, right?
players. Those would be two key players to have on Toronto.
We need players to push us in that next caliber, in the next sorry, not
You
caliber
know, and then
round.
you wouldn't, and then you want to have Marchand,
To compete against,
the guy who's put Toronto out
don't
for
say it.
how many series?
It's not been him; it's
It's
been the
not just
team.
been him, but he's been on the teams that have put Toronto out for like the last seven
Now,
years.
now you want to know the kicker? You
Yeah.
want to know the kicker is that Bennett is actually from there, and that is the one team that he would like
He's
to go
Canadian.
to.
Oh yeah, I knew
He
that
played on
was
the same
Canadian.
team as McDavid
Right, right.
when he was younger. They have a picture of him and everything like that.
Mhm.
So,
Yeah, I forgot he was
so
on Four
get that
Nations too.
greasy little guy back, or not back, but back into Canada, I guess,
Yeah.
and playing on the Toronto Maple Leafs. Bring in Marchand because if you can't fight him, you join him,
Yeah, yeah. Make
or
him join
vice
your team.
versa. So, but I honestly, initially, I heard that and I was kind of a little bit like, oh no, that sucks.
Yeah,
But now I'm kind of like, I mean, if it helps us,
absolutely.
obviously, here's the thing.
You know,
What the majority of the Toronto Maple Leafs fans say should happen, we should do the opposite
mhm. Yeah,
because obviously we're
exactly.
not very good at that stuff. So,
They voice their opinion very loudly, but I mean, I
yes.
don't think they really think before. I'm not saying everybody. I know you're a big Leafs fan, but like you hear it in the crowd, they yell certain things, and it's just like,
They threw Matthews jerseys on the ice.
yeah,
Like, what kind of
come on,
fan does
guys.
that?
Yeah, come on. Okay, the whole jersey throwing on the ice, I hate that. Hate that.
Yeah.
Don't do that. Don't do that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I caught
Gotcha.
myself. I caught myself. Yeah, don't do that at all, right? I
Yeah.
think it's just disrespectful. I mean, the players are giving their all out there. I get it. The fans pay a lot of money to go see you. They expect to see you perform, but it's not always going to be winning, right?
Yeah.
Not all the time. We have some bad years. I get it. Toronto's been a good team. They just haven't been able to get far in the playoffs. So, anyways, the
That's
whole
the
jersey
problem.
thing, I don't, that is the problem, which might be
Yeah.
fixed by Sam Bennett and Brad Marchand.
Maybe.
Um, we got to run. Uh, we did go over a lot of things today. We're going to the off season. The open market for maybe Mitch Marner leaving the Toronto Maple Leafs,
Yeah.
which I think he will be.
I think it's
Jonathan
gonna happen.
Toews maybe going somewhere, maybe Winnipeg or Colorado. We're looking forward to see if Sam Bennett and Brad Marchand will join the Toronto Maple Leafs, of all things. But we will keep you updated as much as we can, and we will talk to you next time. Have a
See ya.
wonderful night.
Bye bye.